Hi everyone, welcome to my channel, Maths Made Easy with Terry in 10 minutes. So we've gone through all the laws of indices and from the multiplication, the product and the rest of it. Now, what I want to do here is I want to pick some examples just to apply these laws together. So if you have noticed in the previous videos, I picked a law, just select an example and apply just that law. But usually what happens is that in a particular question, you have to play around with multiple laws at the same time. Is that okay? All right. And like I said, if you've not subscribed, please do so that if I upload new videos, you'll be the first person to know. I'm going to pick an example. I'm going to solve maybe like 6 or 7 examples just to make sure that we are very conversant with what we want to do. Now I have this example here, and we're told to solve this. B raised to the power 2 times b raised to the power 1/4 divided by b raised to the power 1/2. So what do? So the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to solve the numerator first. So I remember I told you a raised to the power m times a raised to the power n is equal to a raised to the power m plus n, right? So that means I'm going to do this now. It's going to be b raised to the power 2 plus 1/4 divided by b raised to the power half. Okay, and this is going to give us b 1/4. If you press the calculator, will be 9/4 divided by b raised to the power half. Now we have another one here, and we're going to apply the second rule, what that I said. A over m divided by a over n is equal to a over what? M minus n. So that means when the bases are the same and you're dividing, you subtract. So what will happen now will become b raised to the power 9/4 minus 1/2. And that will give us b 7/4. And that will be the answer for that. Okay, so you can see in this example, we combine both the multiplication and division law together. Now let's pick another one. Let's assume we have this example I have here. I have 14x 2/3 multiplied by 13x to the power minus 1/6 divided by 16x 3/4. Okay. Now the same thing, I'm going to try to solve the numerator first before the denominator. And if you remember from the rules, I told you when k a raised to the power m multiplied by j a raised to the power n, you multiply the coefficients separately, so it'll be k times j a, then you now add the powers, okay? So it's very important that you go back and look at all these rules and get used to them. So that means in this case, we're going to multiply the coefficients. It's going to give us 14 multiplied by 13, all right? X raised to the power 2/3 plus minus 1/6. Now that will now give us divided by 16x 3/4. And when you do that, it is going to give us 14 times 13 should give you around 182 x. Now this is plus times minus will give us minus. So it'll be minus 1/6 divided by 16x 3/4. You simplify this further, it will be 182x. So 2/3 minus 1/6 is going to give us 1/2 divided by what? 16x 3/4. Now, the next part was that the other rule I talked about, I said when you have KAM divided by JAN, okay? You have coefficients to the index. What do? You divide the coefficients separately. So it'll be K divided by J, AM minus what? N. Are you seeing it? So that means for us to solve this now, we then have to divide the coefficients separately. So that will give us 182 divided by what? 16. Okay? And that will give us x 1/2 minus what? 3/4. Then when you simplify 182 divided by 16, that should give you, if you press your calculator, it should give you 91/8. And 1/2 minus 3/4 will give you what? Minus 1/4. And that will be the answer for that. All right, so I've done like some examples on multiplication and division, please, you just need to go to the worksheets. You need to go to the textbook and just play around with more questions, okay? Play around, try. More questions, will be trying several things. Is that okay? Yeah, so the number 3, I'm going to talk about, let's try this question. So we have x 4/3 is equal to what? 81. Okay? X 4/3 is equal to 81. Now we need to make x root of the formula. So what are we going to do? To remove this 4/3, let me put it like this. Yes. To remove the 4/3, what I'm going to do, I'm going to multiply both sides. I'm going to raise both sides to 3/4. Okay, so it's going to be 81, 3/4. So if I raise both sides, so remember I told you in basic algebra, anything you do to the left-hand side, you have to do to the what? The right-hand side. So, and you can also put it like this, if that will help you. I told you in the previous video that this is the same thing as saying 81 raised to the power 1. Is that okay? So that means if I put it like 81 raised to the power 1, multiplied by what? 3/4. Are you seeing it? So I'm multiplying both sides by 3/4. Now, when you multiply 4/3 by 3/4, it's going to give you x raised to the power 1, which is the same thing. And when you multiply 1 times 3/4, it's going to give you 81, 3/4. Now, this is going to come back to the second, one of the rules I told you, where I said a raised by n over m is equal to, the denominator is the root, so it's going to be the mth root of a all raised to the power what? N. Is that okay? I said it's going to be the mth root of a all raised to the power n, or you can solve it by saying it's going to be a raised to the power n all what? Mth root. Okay? So the same thing, x is going to be equal to the 4th root of 81 all raised to the power what? 3. Okay? So when you go to your calculator, you press the 4th root of 81, it's going to give you plus or minus 3. Okay? I'm going to be talking about quadratic. So in quadratic equation, I'm going to explain the concept of plus or minus. Okay? So usually your calculator will just tell you 3, but the actual answer for this is plus or minus 3. Then all this raised to the power 3, so that means x is going to be plus or minus what? 27 for that. Okay? So you can see we applied this law here. We first started with basic algebra. Then after that, we now moved on to applying the law where if an index is by a fractional power, the denominator of the fractional power is the root, while the numerator of the fractional power is the power itself. Okay? So we'll go to the next question, number 4. So we'll go to number 4 now. So we have this question, x minus 3/2 is equal to 256. Now, similar to question 3, the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to remove the minus sign by multiplying both sides raised to the power of -1. Is that okay? So I want to get the minus sign away from x. So that will give me x 3/2 is equal to 256 raised to the power of -1. Now, I need to remove the 3/2. I'm going to multiply both sides by 2/3. Is that okay? I'll multiply both sides by 2/3. And that will give me x will be equal to 256 minus 2/3. Now, if you remember, I talked about that a raised to the power minus n, okay, is equal to remove the minus sign, it's going to be 1 over a raised to the power what? N. All right? I'm going to apply the rule here. So that means x is going to become 1 over 256 raised to the power 2/3. Are you seeing it? Now, or better still, I can write it this way. It's going to be, if you want to look at it this way, to help you. So it's the same thing as saying 256/1, all raised to the power minus 2/3. Okay. So if you want to use this rule, so it's the same thing as saying if you have a over b raised to the power minus n is the same thing as what? B over A raised to the power n. So if you want to use this rule, it's still the same thing. So anyone could also work for you. So that means x now will become to 1 over 256. So you see, we still got back to the same thing, 2 over 3. Now, also, I also told you that when you have A over B raised to the power m over n, is the same thing as saying A m over n divided by B m over n. And then we can further simplify this to be because we know that n is the nth root of A, so it's going to be the nth root of A all to power m divided by the nth root of B all to power what? M. Okay? So we're going to do this the same thing. We're going to open the bracket first. So it's going to be the same thing as saying 1 raised to the power 2 over 3 divided by 256 raised to the power 2 over 3. Okay? Now, 1 raised to the power 2 over 3, definitely, we can still write it again as it is cube root of 1 all raised to the power what? 2. Are you seeing it? Divided by the cube root of 256 all raised to the power what? 2. So what is the cube root of 1? The cube root of 1 is 1 all raised to the power 2 divided by the cube root of 256 is 4. When you press your calculator, the cube root of 256 is 4 all raised to the power 2. So that means it's going to be x will be equal to 1 times 1 will give you 1, and 4 squared will give you what? 16. And that will be the answer for that. Okay? So let's take it a notch higher now, a little bit higher this time. So let's say we have this question here. We have 8x equal to 16, 2x minus 1. Okay. You have this kind of question now, and you are meant to solve this. The rule that should come to your mind when you say an equal to an index, when you say an equal to, should be the what? Equality rule. So remember, in the equality rule, I told you that a over raised to the power n is equal to a raised to the power m. So if a raised to the power n is equal to a raised to the power m, so therefore, for these two to be equal, n must be equal to what? M. Are you seeing it? So this is the rule that we have here. So what we have to do now is that we have to manipulate the bases so that the base on the left-hand side is equal to the base on the right-hand side. So that means 8. So if you remember, for those that have listened to my short video and you've watched it, you'll see that you can break down 8 using the factor prime. So you can see 8, 2 here can go and give you 4. You can still break down 4 to be 2 and what? 2. So that means 8 is the same thing as saying 2 times 2 times 2. And that's the same thing as saying 2 raised to the power what? 3. So that means I can break down 8 to be what? 2 raised to the power 3. So the same thing as well, I can break down 16. So 16, what can divide 16? 4 can divide 16, and you'll be left with what? 4, because 4 times 4 will give you 16. You can still break down 4 to give you 2, and you'll be left with 2. You can also break down this 4 to give you 2, and you're left with what? 2. Are you seeing it? So that means I can now say 16 is the same thing as 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. 1, 2, 3, 4. And that is the same thing as saying 2 raised to the power what? 4. So that means I can say that 16 is 2 raised to the power 4 to x minus 1. So you can see that now they are looking the same, but we're not done yet. We need to open the bracket first. So remember, I also told you that a raised to the power m power of n is equal to a raised to the power m times n, and that will give you a raised to the power mn. Are you seeing it? So that means this will give you 2. 3 times x will give you what? 3x. The same thing, 2. So we're now having, in this case, 4 multiplied by 2x minus 1. Are you seeing it? Now, this is the same thing that we had when I told you that when you have A multiplied by B plus C, where it's going to be A times B, we give you AB, and A times C will give you what? AC. So the same thing here, we're having 4 multiplied by 2x minus 1. 4 times 2x will give you 8x. 4 times minus 1 will give you minus 4. So that means this is the same thing as saying 8x minus 4. Now, after doing all that now, we can now see that the bases now are the same. So then we can apply the rule here now, because this is the A is equal to 2, N is 3x, the A is 2 here, and M is 8x minus 4. And I told you that if A raised power N is equal to A raised power M, therefore N must be equal to what? M. So therefore, okay, 3x must be equal to 8x minus 4. Now we look for x. You take 8x to the other side. So it's going to be 3x minus 8x is equal to minus 4. 3x minus 8x is going to give you minus 5x is equal to minus 4. Then you're looking for x. You divide both sides by minus 5. And therefore, x is going to be 4 over 5. So the answer for that, x will be equal to what? 4 over 5. All right, so we're done with that. So the next one, we'll go to another example now and see whether we can take it up a notch higher now. So we have another question here. We have 1 over 9x is equal to 3x minus 6. And you are told to solve this now. What do you do? All right, the same thing, the same principle you're going to do. So when you see the equal to sign, what comes to mind is the equality rule. Does that make sense? So that means we are having the rule of A raised to power M is equal to A raised to power N. So if both of them are the same, so M must be equal to N. So that's the first rule we're going to use here. But if you look at this as well, the base here is 1 over 9 and the base here is 3. Now they are not the same. So we have to manipulate it so that both bases will be the same. So let's go. Let's get cracking now. 1 over 9. We can remember the rule I told you that A raised to power minus N is equal to 1 over A raised to power N, right? So that means I can also say 1 over A raised to power N is equal to A raised to power what? Minus N. Because if this is equal to this is equal to that. Also, this 1 over 9 is the same thing as saying 1 over 9 raised to power 1. Are you seeing it? So that means it's going to give me 9 raised to power minus 1. Are you seeing it? So that means I can write this in the bracket now to be 9 raised to power minus 1 all raised to power x will be equal to 3x minus 6. But remember, the aim is to make sure that the base here is equal to the base there. Now, if you look at this, it's not the same. Okay? So now, what we can do is that let's first open the bracket here, all right? So we're going to have 9. So remember I told you A raised to power M multiplied by N is equal to A raised to power Mn. You multiply both of them. So minus 1 times x is going to give you minus x. So it's going to give you 9 raised to power minus x is equal to 3x minus 6. But we can still break down 9 because we know 9, 3 times 3 is 9, okay? Or if you're confused, you can use the square factor. 3 can go here and you'll be left with 3, okay? So that means 9 is equal to 3 times 3, which is 3 raised to power 2. So I can break down 9 to be 3 raised to power 2 minus x is equal to 3x minus 6. Are you seeing it? Then I'll still apply this rule again. Okay, I'll apply the rule again because A raised to power M times N is equal to AMN. So I'm going to apply this now. So it's going to be 2 times minus x is going to give us 3 minus 2x. It's equal to 3x minus 6. Now, when you look at this now, you will notice now that both bases are the same. So that means because both bases are the same, I can now what? Apply the equality rule now. So you can see the only time you apply the equality rule is when you have both bases to be the same. So now, because both bases are the same now, I can now apply it. So it will be minus 2x will be equal to what? X minus 6. Then I take x to the other side. So it's going to be minus 2x minus x is equal to minus 6. Now, minus 2x minus x will give you what? Minus 3x, okay? So to give you minus 3x, and that minus 3x is equal to what? Minus 6. So it's very important that before you start applying the equality rule, that the bases must be the same, okay? And that will give you minus 6. Now, when you're done with that, to find x, you divide both sides by minus 3. Then x is going to be equal to what? 2. Are you seeing it? So that means for this question now, x is equal to 2. All right, let me just pick one more example to just round this up, okay? Let me just pick one more example to round this up. Let's assume I have w plus 1 divided by w raised to power half plus w raised to power minus half, okay? Now look at this example now. You can see now that what we are having here is not a raised to power m times a raised to power n that will give you a m plus n, because you must have multiplication in order to add the powers. But now we are having addition. And if you look at the rules I gave you, there was nothing about what? Addition there. So how do you want us to solve this now? Okay, so what you can do, you can pause the video, try and solve it. And if you think you can solve it, then come back and play the video to see if you get the answer. All right, so let's go. We have this. So I'm going to rewrite this now as the same thing as saying w plus 1 divided by w half plus w minus half. Do you agree? Okay. Now, because now it's like this, I can now, because this is w minus half, I can apply the rule that says a minus n is equal to 1 over a raised to power n. Do you agree? Okay. So I can now say w plus 1 divided by w half plus 1 over w what? Half. Now, I want to now apply the same denominator rule. So in basic algebra, please, if you've not watched my video on the basic algebra, please, you need to go back and have a look at the video. So where I talked about adding fractions together. So I told you that in order to add fractions, that you have to make sure that the base are the same. In order for us to make the base the same now, we have to then multiply the top and the bottom by this. So it's going to be w half divided by w half multiplied by w half over 1 plus 1 over w raised to power what? Half. Are you seeing it? So now, if you multiply this and this now, because we cannot apply the a m plus n, because now we are having multiplication here. So it's going to give us w plus 1 divided by w half, because it's multiplication. We cannot add it together now. So it will now become half plus half. Is that making sense? So it's going to be w half plus half divided by w half times 1 will still give you w half plus 1 over w half. So you can see now both bases are the same. Okay? Let me take this one up here so I can use the space here, and I can use this one. Yeah, good. So back to this. So half plus half, so it's going to give me w plus 1 divided by half plus half will give you 1. So it's going to be w divided by w half, okay, plus 1 over what? W half. Are you seeing it? Now, remember I told you in algebra that if you have a over b plus c over b, if the bases are the same, it will give you a plus c divided by b, okay? So I told you this in algebra. So that means we can apply this now. So it's going to be W plus 1 divided by, since they are the same, it's going to be W half and be W plus 1. Also, I also told you in algebra that when you have A over B divided by C over D, in order to solve this, to remove the division, you have to turn it to multiplication, okay? So that's one of the things I told you. So please, if you've not watched the video, go back and watch it. So it's going to be A over B multiply. You flip this to become D over C, okay? And that will give you A times D will give you AD, B times C will give you BC. So the same thing I'm going to do here. I'm going to have W plus 1 times, I'm going to flip it now, W half, okay, because I'm flipping it, all right, it'll be W half divided by W plus 1. Are you seeing it? So this is the same thing as over 1, right? So, as usual, this one can cancel this one out, and you can see your answer with W raised to the power what? Half. Okay, and that is that for that. All right, and that is that for some of the examples. So you can go to the worksheet, or you can go to the VLE, or you can go to the website, or go to any mathematical website and try as much as possible to solve many questions. And if there's any question you're not sure or you can't solve, please put it in the comment section so the other subscribers can have a go at it, or you can send me an email and I'll get back to you and I'll make a video on that, okay? All right, thank you very much, and I will see you in the next video, all right? Have a nice day, and please don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell so when I post new videos, you'll be the first person to know, all right? So see you soon.